everyone, welcome back to Times of Biotech. Today you are going to meet Viviane, who is a certified doula. So let's welcome her on our very own show, Science Talk Show. Hello Viviane, how are you?
Hi, Sabine, good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's begin with the questions, and we have a lot of questions. First of all, we would like to know, like, what are the doulas, because a lot of people really don't know about them, and how do you support the moms?
You are right. Not a lot of people know what a doula is. So a doula is basically a person who is there for the mama during pregnancy, birth, or postpartum, or all three if she chooses to. And a doula acts as her emotional, mental, and spiritual anchor, besides being also the physical support. But what a doula really focuses on is the mom's mental and emotional state, because that can change a lot when it comes to birth. It can change the whole outcome, it can change the experience. And that's what we want. We want an empowered, in control mama who is empowered and who is not afraid and who's ready to give birth in the best possible way. So that's what a doula is. And the role, you are there for her, you guide her on the way, but as you go, as you are guiding her, as you walk with her on this unique motherhood journey to the point where she welcomes her baby, you educate her. You educate her on the misconceptions that are going on in the world, especially if she decides to give birth at a hospital. Hospital settings can be quite tricky. They're very good for high-risk mamas, but again, there is a lot of things that a lot of mamas don't know, which one of the most common is that the doctors and nurses, they try to corner you, they try to scare you, they make you believe you are not allowed to say no, when in fact it is your basic right to decline a procedure if you're not feeling like it. But that's the point where it gets really tricky. A lot of mamas, they don't know this, and because of this, they agree to unnecessary interventions when they're not clinically supported or, like I said, necessary in the first place. So doula is really crucial in this education, in terms of a doula will tell you, you can decline this. This is not routine. This is something that you can say no to, and there are different options. So while I work with a mama, we talk about all the other options that there are, and we focus on the ones that she resonates with. She needs to resonate with an option. She needs to resonate with the space where she's going to give birth at. And once everything resonates with her, then we can channel that during childbirth, because once you're in childbirth, your mental state changes a little bit. So it might be hard to come back to what you've learned 4 months ago. So for me as a doula, and for the partner, if there is a partner to support her, it is very important to channel that energy back, to tell her, remind her, do you remember what we talked about? Is this something you would still like to do? Remember, you don't have to say no. And one of the most important things is, as a doula, is that I do help parents be better advocates for themselves, meaning I cannot decide or advocate for them, but I'm there to help them advocate for themselves in a better and more efficient way, which will not, insult the doctor, because sometimes doctors feel threatened by a mama who says no, which is, there is no reason for this if it's, clinically supported, if her decision is clinically supported, and if it's really indeed not necessary. So that, I would say, in a nutshell, is what a doula is, the role of a doula during pregnancy, during childbirth, and afterwards. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, but I feel, isn't it contradictory? Because when a doctor suggests something like maybe some eating habits, or maybe something supplements, they are suggesting based on the medical ground. what is the state of the mama. So isn't it contradictory to tell doctor that no, I don't want to do this because my doula told this? Isn't it? Like, why you need that? Because there are a lot of medical equipments available. In fact, there is a lot of advancement as compared to the earlier to now. So why this contradiction?
So the problem that we're facing here, there are two problems, obviously. One problem is the bigger problem, is that the problems we're facing are rather systemic than practical, meaning there isn't, hospital staff isn't trained enough in the matter of childbirth, in the matter of natural childbirth. That is very important to say. It has to be a natural approach. And the second problem that follows this first problem is the fact that most all OBGYNs and doctors who attend to women during childbirth are in fact surgeons, meaning they will always take the more medical approach and will see pregnancy and birth as a medical state rather than a natural process, meaning they will always look at things in a more medicinal way, in a more intervention way. So they will focus on what they know best. And what they know best is interventions and is how to speed up the birth. But in fact, these interventions, they can hinder the birth itself. They can slow it down. They can make a mama feel very stressed out. They can make her feel that she starts doubting herself whether she's able to give birth. That is the number one important thing to for a mama to know, that she is able to give birth. She was designed to give birth. That's how our bodies are made. And she's able to give birth without medications if she chooses to. There is some pain, for sure. I don't disapprove of that, but there are very effective techniques on how to deal with that pain rather than to skip to the last possible scenario of receiving an epidural, which is if a mama receives an epidural, there are many other things that go with it. So she needs IV fluids. She needs continuous fetal monitoring, which pretty much binds her to the bed, which doesn't allow her to move. And from years of practice, we know that if a mother moves, it actually helps the labor proceed rather than when she lays down, because then when she lays down, the gravity doesn't work with her. The gravity is against her, pushing the baby's back or head deeper into the pelvic floor, making it harder for her to push the baby out. It makes it harder for the baby. It makes it harder for the mama. So this is the real problem, that I don't think there is enough awareness on natural childbirth approach, which I think if there would be, we wouldn't have to necessarily we wouldn't have to go to interventions right away. There would be other options. And I know the COVID pandemic especially hit the women hard regarding childbirth, because doctors and hospital staff, they didn't want to keep them for too long, so they tried to speed up the birth as much as possible, leading to interventions, leading to, inductions, epidurals, cesarean sections that were not clinically supported. They were not necessary, yet they did it.
So you talk a lot about the mindset of the mama when they are going, like, because they don't want to go for cesarean. You also talked about the medical. They are trained for a medical, not for the emotional stuff. For mama, what actually it's going with her. So can you tell me, why is this mindset so important when it comes to pregnancy, birth, and postpartum?
Yes, absolutely. So I like to refer to mindset as mind flow, actually. I think people relate better to what that means, because I found that a lot of people just have no idea what a mindset is. So a mindset is the state of mind that we have, it's the beliefs and values and affirmations that we tell ourselves. And I found that a lot of mamas at the beginning of their pregnancy or on, even if they're 30 weeks along, it doesn't matter. There is going to be some sort of false belief, some sort of hindrance to them having a successful pain-free birth. So what I do is I focus heavily on the state of mind, on the affirmations that they'll tell themselves, the false beliefs that there are there. And the most common false beliefs are that they're terrified, they're scared, they fear to birth the baby. And I've had a lot of mamas tell me, the baby's not coming out. The baby's staying in my belly. It's staying where it is right now because I'm so terrified of the idea of just giving birth. So we work on that. We go back in time and we find the problem, we find the false belief, and then we uproot it, meaning we get rid of it and we substitute it for a positive and true belief that is supported by facts. And then we on top of that we put a positive affirmation that the mama can come back to during actual childbirth. So it's important not to have that fear inside, because no matter if you don't think about it, no matter what you think it will, it will it will affect your outcome, your childbirth experience. It doesn't matter because it's there. It doesn't matter how tiny it is. We have to get rid of it if a mama wants 100% pain-free, amazing spiritual birth, which they do. So this is what we work on. And we work on this using mindful exercises, using different types of meditation. And there are also very interesting interactive exercises where they have to answer questions that are not
Okay.
necessarily they're not necessarily easy to answer,
Mhm.
because you have to tap into yourself. Like, what is the first word that comes to your mind when I say birth? And a lot of things come up. It can be a trigger to something else and we don't know, so we have to look for the trigger. What caused it? Was it something from your childhood? Was it something your partner said? Was it something your parents said or your friend said? Was it today? Was it yesterday? Was it 10 years ago? We don't know. And that's why we're doing this, to prepare the mother not only for a great experience, but to get rid of the false beliefs so she doesn't have to carry it through the childbirth over to the postpartum period, because that's when women are most vulnerable. When they have the baby, they get home and all of a sudden it's just them and the partner. And
Mhm.
sometimes they might feel they're not up for this task to be a mother, when in fact they're more than ready, they're more than equipped by the time the baby comes. It's all about what we tell ourselves. It's all about what we believe, and do we believe in ourselves? This is
Mhm.
very important, and yet I feel it's very understated. I think there should be much more awareness on this topic, because it's not just childbirth, it's almost any topic you decide to. So that would be my answer.
Okay, but then do you feel like this? There are a lot of cases of postpartum depression. So when a person or mother who is consulting a doula who has, does they even fall like they feel this postpartum depression, or or is it really common, or like what are the reasons? Why they actually, because the when you are about to give a birth to a baby, it's a happy moment. You have been waiting for this event, this day to come for from last 9 months. So why does actually all these things happens in a very happy situation, in fact, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have said it better, Sabine. Childbirth is truly a magical, life-changing, transforming event. But then all the hormones, right? And then the game gets trickier by, your body adjusting to this immense change. I mean, you just grew a human in yourself, and now that human is out, and all those hormones are changing because of it. They're changing levels, and they're adjusting to the normal state where the woman was not pregnant. So what is very common and happens almost in all women after birth is what I like to call the baby blues. The baby blues is not postpartum depression necessarily. It is just the feeling of being down. And it's purely caused by physiological triggers like hormone changes. It doesn't have to do anything with the mother doubting herself. It doesn't have to do with the baby. It doesn't have to do that she's sleep deprived. And of course, these factors, uh, you know, they make the baby blues. They can make it worse, of course. But what really sets off a postpartum depression can be that the mother either had depression before she gave birth. That is a very big indicator. It can trigger postpartum depression more in more cases than when she was not depressed before having a baby. But what really sets off a postpartum depression in a lot of mothers lately is trauma during childbirth. And it's exactly what we talked about in the beginning about the interventions, about the mother feeling that her right to have control over her own body and what goes into her body in terms of medication was taken away. And this can set off a cascade of feelings of self-doubt, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-love. It can set off she can start believing in that she's not able to care about this baby because she was not able to birth him, because she needed so many interventions. She needed that epidural, she needed that cesarean, she needed tens of others interventions to be able to welcome her baby to the world. So all these factors attribute to or contribute to postpartum depression. Now, postpartum depression isn't the only thing that parents might struggle with. It might be postpartum anxiety. And again, all these stem from trauma that was inflicted during childbirth. Of course, some people suffer from anxiety prior to birth, which is again just another contributing factor to the mama developing this after birth, since the hormones can be very intense. The hormonal changes can be very intense. So this can set it all off. So again, a postpartum doula can be very beneficial in this period of time for a mama and her partner as well, since mental health is not talked about enough, especially after birth, and not at all in men. Men as partners, or just partners in general, whether they're men or women, they can suffer from postpartum depression, anxiety, rage, obsessive compulsive behaviors as well. It's not just the mothers. The only way it's different, it's that the father or the secondary caregiver, the second parent, experiences this depression or anxiety in a different way because they have different responsibilities, right? The partner might think, will I be able to provide for my family? What if I get sick and I can't work and there will be no money? All these factors contribute in partners to a postpartum depression. So I would.
Okay, so like, how do you uplift their souls? Like, if it is hormonal, of course a medication has to will play that role, but then if it is out of anxiety, like the how am I going to take care, how the things will happen. And mostly this when a child comes, when after postpartum, the focus shifts to the child, not to the mother or father, because they are the people who have to take care of the child. So how do you, what is your role in that case? Like, how do you uplift their souls?
That's a very good question. And what I usually say is that I'm here for the mother and I'm all about mothering the mother. Meaning I take care of the baby, I help with the baby, but I'm here for the mama and the partner if they show interest that they would like the support. What I do is, you know, we are still living in a COVID world, and the pandemic made it, so much harder on moms because they already feel isolated, because you have to, the first couple weeks or months, you usually stay home with a baby because they're too tiny. You have to feed very often, they sleep a lot. It's, it definitely changes your life, a baby. So what I do is I focus on the mom. How was your night? And it's not about her telling me how many times she was awake last night. It's about the feeling that she's heard. It's about the feeling that someone cares to ask her. Because if you think about it, we see it all, we see it everywhere, in movies, in blogs, and on videos. The first postpartum visit of family and friends, they come over, and the focus is on the baby, right? How is the baby? Look at his eyes, look at his cheeks, look at his
It's true.
nose, right? He's so cute. And no one
Absolutely.
pays attention to the mom. Has someone asked her, how are you? But really, how are you? Or how was last night? Or do you need water? Do you need me to do your dishes? Do you need me to do laundry? Anything? Do you need to go take a nap?
Nothing.
And I can watch the baby, all these things. And this is what I'm here for. This is my role. I'm there to support them. And I don't necessarily have to offer advice. If they don't ask for it, I just listen. And I found that listening is sometimes more, and it's
Powerful.
truly is. Listening is very powerful. And a thing that I tell all the parents that I work with is, you are doing great. And it's not a lie. It's because we live in a COVID world. No one's ever done this before. No one's has given birth during a pandemic and raising a baby during a pandemic. I mean, there is just so much to think about. And given every single circumstance that's going on in the world right now, they're doing fabulous. And
Yeah.
it's so important to tell them this, because I can see it, they don't feel like that. And me telling a mom, oh, you look so tired, she probably knows that, and it's not going to help her, right?
Yeah.
So this is a different type of support. I know that family and friends say that a lot, and they want to help, right? But it really helpful to the mama to just make something obvious, like, I know I'm tired, but how about, when can I sleep? So I, as a doula, do you need a nap? Go rest, and don't think about anything else. And me and your partner, or just me, will take care of everything. And it's a matter of 3-4 hours, and the people are, 3 or 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep can make the change in the
Exactly.
day.
So it's just that you are there, in front of whom, like, mothers can pour their heart out, and there is someone who can understand them. They are feeling, not just about the child, not about, like, they are not going, you are not going to tell them that, you're feeling, your how you are feeling, how you are looking, what you actually need. You are there to tell them, and you are there to support them. That's a wonderful job. So, what you are going to tell my viewers? What is your giveaway from you?
So my one thing that I tell my viewers, or just people in general, is that a healthy and strong community starts at home. That is my number one motto. And for the community to be strong and healthy, we need to start before birth. That brings me to my next motto, which is, do everything before you give birth. Do your research, get your support team, put together your dream team if necessary. It doesn't have to be one doula. Some people choose to have two doulas, and it's amazing, right? You have two birth angels next to you. But the most important thing is to get educated and do your research before you give birth, because once the baby is here, there will be no time for this. And I have seen mothers researching Google at 3 in the morning, when they had a hungry baby who was crying and their nipples hurt because they couldn't breastfeed. and they didn't know what was wrong, who to call, who to turn to. It is very frustrating. So that would be my motto: do your research before and get a doula, obviously.
Obviously. Thank you so much for sharing such an important message. And I must say, you are doing a wonderful job because you are making the motherhood mesmerizing. And that's really wonderful. And that's really something like which every mother should feel. They should not feel stressed. They should not have that postpartum depression kind of things, because they have to keep themselves, their souls uplifted. So get the doula, contact her for if you need some help. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sabina. It was a pleasure. I'm very grateful that I could be in your show and spread awareness, and hopefully it will reach your viewers and help them on their journey.
Definitely. Thank you so much.